Hey everyone! So an ocean's been found underneath the surface of one of Jupiter's moons, Ganymede. A new island is formed in the Pacific from a volcano, and a fossil of a giant lobster has been found off the coast of Morocco. This is your weekly science news with me, the UK astronaut. So a giant ocean of salt water has been found underneath the icy crust of Jupiter's moon Ganymede. So the Hubble Space Telescope has been studying Ganymede and looking at it, and specifically it's been studying its magnetic field and also its aurora. And the aurora is kind of like the northern lights down here on Earth. It's where radiation from space interacts with the magnetic field of Ganymede and it creates these lovely bright pretty colours up in the sky. Now, the magnetic field of Jupiter, the big planet that Ganymede orbits around, and Ganymede's magnetic field itself interact with each other. What this kind of does is it causes the magnetic field of Ganymede to kind of oscillate slightly as the two interact with each other. But scientists have been sort of modelling this and seeing how much it should oscillate and find that actually the magnetic field changes much less than they think it should. And the reason they think this probably is, through all their models, is they think that there's a giant saltwater ocean underneath the crust of Ganymede. And if this exists, this would explain why this magnetic field doesn't oscillate and move and change as much as it should do. Now, this isn't the first time we've thought there's an ocean underneath Ganymede. So the Galileo satellite visited Ganymede a few years ago, and it found some evidence that it thought there was a giant ocean of water underneath the surface of Ganymede. So it's not the first time, and this is just sort of more evidence suggests that it does exist. However, the European Space Agency mission JUICE will be visiting Jupiter and Ganymede in around 2030 or so, and hopefully this will find more evidence, or at least sway either way and find either way whether there is an ocean or not. So a new island is formed in the Pacific Ocean from an underwater volcano. So initially, off the coast of Tonga, there were two small islands with this giant underwater volcano between the two. And as this volcano erupted, pushed up loads of lava from beneath, and this cooled down and formed this giant island connecting the two small islands together. So there's now this new massive 500-metre long island off the coast of Tonga. Now, because it came from the volcano and the eruptions, a lot of material on the surface is still quite loose, so it's sort of cautious that people shouldn't really go to this island. It's still a bit dangerous. We're also still not sure whether the volcano has finished erupting or not. So it still could be very dangerous, and it could even get even bigger. So the fossil of a giant human-sized lobster has been found off of the coast of Morocco. It's thought to have lived around 480 million years ago and would have been around 2 meters long, around the size of a human. And it was something called a feeder creature. So a feeder creature sucks in a load of ocean water that has small creatures in it, then it gets rid of the water, and so it keeps all the small creatures that it has sucked up, and this is how it eats. It's thought to have been probably the largest and only large feeder creature that exists at this time. All the other feeder creatures are thought to be much smaller. In fact, it would have been one of the largest creatures that existed 480 million years ago. So there you have it, there's your weekly science news. If you didn't see my video yesterday was International Pi Day, where the date and time spell out the first 10 digits of pi. So I did a short video that's explaining what's so special about pi, and some really interesting things about pi if you don't know much about it, and a little bit on Pi Day as well, so you can go check that out. Otherwise, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave some comments on any of the stories I talked about today, or anything else basically. You can check me out on Twitter, at UKAstroNut. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. 3.141592. You've probably all heard this number before, and of course it's the value for the famous number pi. Pi is probably the most famous number in mathematics. It's so famous that in fact even has its own day for it, where we celebrate all things pi. But what is pi and what makes it so special?